Welcome to Slow and Steady, the podcast where you get to follow along as we figure out how to build and run a SaaS. I'm Benedikt.
And I'm Brian. Each week, we'll give you an honest peek into our lives as we work on our products and keep the lights on by fixing heaters. Today is October 27th, and I'm feeling better.
This is episode number 64, and I'm feeling overwhelmed.
Dude, you've got...
Good to hear you're feeling better.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's still it's not like solved or anything. Obviously, I don't think anybody would expect to hear that, but it was pretty therapeutic just to kind of get all that, out of my head, and just share. Yeah, man, just feeling in a pretty low point. But a handful of people reached out, really, really kind and encouraging, and because somebody emailed messaged me on Twitter and was just like, "Hey, I've been listening from the beginning. Hang in there," et cetera, and had a good back and forth conversation with them where I was just like, "Hey, just give me some honest feedback here. Are you getting tired of me just showing up each week and not having progress? Like, why are you still listening?" And their feedback was, "Well, that's kind of the whole point, is that's where I feel like I'm at right now, is also just trying to, stay at it, just stick with it." And it's like, that's really encouraging to hear somebody else in the same position, as opposed to just listening to somebody's, success story. Like, it kind of offers a different point of view. Like, you're still in the thick of it. Like, okay, cool. We'll keep at it. Keep doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. I also got some feedback from people who apparently they enjoyed the episode. So I feel like we were both mostly whining during that episode, but
yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing is, to think, is this contributing to the overall conversation? And is it good for the community? And several people mentioned, was like, that was an extremely riveting episode because of what y'all were talking about. So yeah, thanks for the feedback. Thanks for the encouragement, y'all. Appreciate it. Sticking with it. Thanks. So feeling better, but still slow and steady, man.
Yeah.
What's got you feeling overwhelmed?
It's Tuesday. I feel like Tuesdays are just overwhelming these days. Lots of calls as always, and then trying to fit like actual work in between those things. Which is almost never works out, or at least it's not like trying to get the task done within an hour between calls.
Right.
It's like, even if you get it done, it's just not an enjoyable experience, because every single little roadblock you run into just like makes you more annoyed than it should be, and like whatever. So yeah, it's Tuesday, but still, like, even the entire last week was a little bit. I still have this like constant base stress level of like, there's so much to do and I don't have enough time for anything. And I just had a hard time really focusing on a single thing last week, and was mostly jumping between things. This time, at least this particular week, I tried to not work on anything critical or not deploy anything critical. So at least my not being focusedness doesn't break production again. So that worked. But yeah, so got a bunch of stuff done, but it wasn't. I feel like I'd rather work on bigger chunks of work than little things here and there, and just jumping between tasks. It's
interesting.
Not a super enjoyable experience.
Are the things that you're okay? are the things that you're working on or that you feel the most stress about, are they like back end DevOps, keep the lights on, keep the servers running, and keep everything from getting overwhelmed again? Is it that sort of stuff, or is it user facing feature development that you're feeling the most stress about?
It's a little bit of everything. Like last week, there weren't that many backend related things. As I said, like I didn't touch anything that could potentially break, so that was fine. But there's so many things going on with
Mhm,
just like marketing activities, SEO
mhm.
stuff. As I said, we're working, kind of trying to figure out if we have an activation problem, and if we do, how to solve it. We launched the concierge setup campaign
Yeah,
last week. Um, so far, the feedback is, well, non-existent mostly. Um,
still
so
surprises me. Yeah.
we're basically giving away stuff for free, but nobody wants the free stuff, I
Mm,
guess. We have one call booked tomorrow, but that only happened because we reached out to a lead that churned a while ago, basically stating they don't have the time to work on this. So we
yeah,
decided, so
yeah.
let's explicitly reach out to them, and they were up for it. So hopefully that works, because it would be cool account. I think they have a bunch of users, and yeah, it would just be a good fit, and a decent sized company. Um,
Mhm,
but because like we didn't get anything back from that, or no feedback from that, I started like manually reaching out to everyone who is either in a trial or recently converted into a paid account but isn't sending data or doesn't have active campaigns.
mhm.
Just emailing them asking, hey, why, what's going on? But feedback on that has also not been great. I think one person replied basically saying, yeah, I was planning to integrate it today, um, which they did, and everything's working apparently. So
Mhm.
no problems to learn from in that particular case. But also looking at the other, at least some of the other companies or people I emailed, I'm still not sure if this really is an activation problem, or if our paid ads were just like not targeted enough, because some of like, it was obvious that the trial converted and they're now paying, but they're not they're not even remotely a good fit for what we do and what they do.
Interesting.
Like, we had a consulting agency sign up for it with no obvious. I wasn't even like, from the first look, I wasn't even sure if they're actually doing software. So I don't know. One was a company who's building robots, like
Okay.
physical industrial robots,
Yeah.
and I I had a hard time figuring out what they might use Userlist for. And I emailed them regardless, but I haven't heard back. So my feeling is that maybe they expected something else and just signed up with the company credit card and then forgot about it, and now we're charging their card. But
And they both of those examples signed up from paid ads?
uh, that's actually something I should probably double check. But that wasn't my assumption. At least it would fit with. They signed up during the like while the
Yeah.
campaigns were running, and the fact that they're so out of the target audience makes me think that they probably were searching for something like that
Mhm.
matched the keywords, but were looking
Yeah.
for something totally different.
Right on.
um
Yep. And
yeah,
and so those 2 companies are either probably a really bad or either a really bad fit and
yeah,
signed up for something that they're or they thought they were signing up for something else, or that could be pretty interesting to figure out what in the world is a consultancy signing up for Userlist for, you know?
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
there could be some unexpected there could be some
yeah.
a little unexpected seam there that you could mine.
Yeah, if only they'd reply to our emails.
Yeah, exactly.
Which makes me again think that, I mean, if they were actually looking to solve a problem or really wanted to use Userlist to solve this particular problem, I'd expect them to be a little bit more responsive, or I don't know. Yeah, hard to tell. Like, I mean, my gut feeling is they are just not a good fit and didn't know what they signed up for.
Well, yeah, and I mean, and that could certainly be true. But it would almost seem like, because you were mentioning last week and maybe the last week and maybe the week before that, the growth and numbers are not where, you and Jane really want things to be. And so it could be that you're fishing in the wrong pond,
Yeah, maybe, but I'm not entirely sure if we're ready to overthrow, change ponds yet. Yeah, but that's a good thought. Maybe you have to think more about this, because right now we're totally built for SaaS applications, and everything totally is targeted towards SaaS applications.
Right.
But yeah, maybe it's a good idea to think about it at least. But yeah,
I mean, it again is dependent upon getting enough of those folks that are unexpected, signed up, and getting enough of them on the phone to be, to pull trustworthy and actionable.
So far we get most interactions from the people who are actually a good fit for the niche, or actually out of the niche, inside that target group. So yeah, that's what I've been doing over the last week, and we'll keep doing, just every couple of days, check in there and see what people are like, which of the customers are not properly activating, and try to find out what the problem is. Yeah.
What else you got, man?
Yeah, just trying to think what else was going on last week. I promised that we launch the new podcast today. Yeah. That's not going to happen, unfortunately. There are still a couple of to-dos that we haven't finished. Plan is to finish them either later today and then maybe still launch it today, but I think it will probably be the end of the week or something like that. There's not much left, but the website needs some more polishing, and we have set up the podcast hosting tool, and tie everything together, submit it to iTunes and Spotify and whatnot. And yeah, that's still pending. So not launching it today, but hopefully by the end of the week.
How did y'all end up deciding are you just going to roll out one episode per week, even though you're kind of planning to do it in seasons? You're going to be rolling them out as you. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. We'll probably, I think 2 episodes are fully produced by now. So we launched them together. Not entirely sure, but after that, that's 1 per week. And I think it's 8 or 9 episodes, and that's it for the first season. And then we'll see.
I still think that's a really smart way of going about it. It just seems like you're not signing yourself up for this.
This treadmill of producing more content over and over and over. Yeah. Right. But yeah, hopefully that kind of works. At least hopefully it brings some backlinks. Maybe it brings some more eyes on the product. We hired someone on Upwork to do basically recaps of the episodes. So she's handling all the production, basically sending it over to the audio editing team, and listens to the episodes, writes the show notes, writes a relatively in-depth recap, like with quotes and summaries, and
nice.
plan is to have like some good, actually, searchable content on the website as well. So hopefully that will help with backlinks and SEO and stuff like that.
Yeah, how much per episode is that going to be for the whole?
How much it costs, or
yeah.
To be honest, I am not entirely sure.
Okay. I mean, it's really interesting as to have somebody else completely handle writing out really good recap.
Yeah, it's like
go ahead.
It's all the stuff you kind of want to do but don't want to do, like don't want to spend time on. And Jane has been really starting to do more of this, of just like delegating the tasks that she doesn't like doing. And I think I still struggle with that part, like delegating stuff I don't want to do to others. Still doesn't come easy for me, but she started a good process there, and basically hiring people on Upwork, giving out sample projects, and then trying to find diamonds in the rough that are undercharging a lot.
Yep.
And it kind of, in a way, we're kind of probably a little bit exploiting them, but I mean, they set the price, not us. But we have this one lady doing the podcast editing for us. We got someone else who's basically researching competitors right now, so we can build up alternative 2 pages for the website. And those are all tasks that we know we have to do, but neither Jane nor me are super excited to do them.
Well, I mean, that would be really interesting to see how usable the output of that particular thing is. So like that, the idea is you're saying here's our product. Here's an example of one of these alternative 2 pages that we want to create. And now here's a list of our competitors, and just see how accurately they put together the bullet point comparisons. That's basically the job.
Yeah, basically we prepared a spreadsheet listing out features that we think are relevant to the niche, and then basically have this grid of, yes, we do this, no, we don't do this. Like the list includes features that Userlist doesn't support either, and then they're just going through trying to figure out if the particular competitor is doing this and checking off the boxes in the spreadsheet. And I think they also write a summary of like a conclusion, like, is this tool a good fit for this particular use case or whatever. And then the plan is to use that spreadsheet to generate landing pages from that for those competitors.
I'm trying to think, and I'm pulling it up right now. I think it was Process Kit that had yes. Okay. Maybe some of the best alternative 2 pages I have seen, and it is Process Kit. It's only got 3 here versus Process Kit versus Asana, Process Street, and Trello. I thought I had a few more, but man, just a really great job by Brian Castle on just the outline of them, the design, the copy flow is so good. They are just killer. So there's something about, just as you're talking, that just seems interesting to have a template, get it filled in, at least get some of the just going from nothing to something is sometimes the hard part on those projects. And then you start putting it into a landing page, and this word should be this, and you've got a little bit more insight into exactly how the market will read things. But putting that final polish on it rather than doing all the legwork up front, just
and especially like researching all of that just doesn't feel like a super exciting task. I really like Brian's alternative 2 pages, especially that he pulls in verified reviews from the competitors on G2. That's a really smart thing. Just mine them for stuff that people don't like. And put those on the page. That's a good idea.
Like when just to give an example for the listeners, like on Process Kit versus Trello, he's got on the left, Trello doesn't do repeating tasks. And the review, the verified review on G2, it would be great to be able to create templates for repeating tasks. On the right, Process Kit is built for repeatable work. And it's an example of how you can do that exact thing. It's pretty brilliant. It's really well done.
Yeah, that's true.
Check them out, people. Okay, so yeah, so you're gonna that work's getting outsourced. A couple other things.
Yeah, the other big thing that was on our minds for a couple of weeks now is we're thinking about redoing our pricing.
Nice.
Mostly, like the main driver behind this is, especially on the larger accounts, we're having a hard time upgrading people from one account to the next. Like if they cross their limit, the jump between plans is pretty significant especially on the larger plans. It's okay from the basic 49 to growth. I think it's 99. So there's a $50 jump, which is well, it's a jump, but okay. But for example, from our scale plan at 229 to the high volume at 499, it's more than double. And well, yeah.
Okay.
It's a big jump.
So you have 49, 99, 229, and 499. Yeah. And you're saying the most difficult jump is between 229 and 499?
Yeah, and between 99 and 229. Basically the jumps that are more than 3 digits. Those people are super clingy to their current plan at those stages, which makes sense. I mean, they're not really getting more value out of the tool. It's just like because they are growing, their user count is growing, so they should pay more because they're potentially sending more messages, but like there's not more added value in that sense. So we're thinking about changing our pricing to a more flexible model that doesn't have tiers anymore. But just a base price, and then charge a fee for every 1,000 users above the base limit. And the idea there is like combine that with automatic upgrades, which we don't do right now, especially for the reason of like the jumps are pretty steep. And when we upgrade people or tell people to upgrade, the direction is usually either they cancel right away because they're like, no, at that price point, I can't afford it. Or they ask us to remove a bunch of their users based, usually they create a segment. This bunch of users, I don't really care about them. Please remove them.
Yeah.
So the idea is with the new pricing model, as well as automated upgrades, we basically calculate their usage every month or even every day and adjust their plans accordingly. That will make the transition between the plans much more gracefully and more gradual, and avoid those steps. I mean, eventually it will probably still get too expensive for people, but we can basically max it out over time.
Well, yeah, and I mean it'll just be a steadier incline is the idea, because they also the plans go from 1,000 users to 5,000 users to 20,000 users to 50,000 users. So that jump between 5,000 and 20,000, if you just kind of go with them, $9 per month, just it does seem like it'd be less.
It should make things easier and not as shocking and all those nice things. And we're thinking about doing $79 for the base price, so basically increasing the base price a little bit, because right now it starts at 49, and then doing $9 per 1,000 users on top of that. And we built some crazy spreadsheets just to see like how would this affect customers. And turns out like especially on the higher plans, I think from the growth at 99 and up, it basically gets cheaper for those plans, at least a little bit. Like it's not a lot, but it gets a little bit cheaper because they are basically easing into the plan and not like upgrading and then have an insanely high limit that they are nowhere near.
Yeah, right.
And so for most people, it will get cheaper. But overall revenue for us is actually increasing a little bit. And once we actually upgrade like existing customers on the $49 plan, then of course, that would also move the needle a bit. But probably not doing that right from the start. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's a big change, but I feel like especially on the higher plans, on the larger plans, will solve a little bit of the problems we're having, because right now, like even the emotional and stress component of having to manually upgrade one of those larger accounts it's not a nice experience.
I can imagine. I imagine. What's the thought process on making the base account 79 rather than just keeping your base account at 49 and going at plus 9 per thousand from there?
Yeah, we thought about that as well. We just want to give it a try.
Yeah. Okay.
We had a $9 starter plan, and as I mentioned, like it didn't really increase signups by a lot. It improved trial to paid conversion a little bit, but not like activation is like still a problem, because at $9 people just don't care. It's not big enough of a number. The thesis is that raising it to 79 would still not really change anything. But of course, it's $30 more per user, which would be nice.
You're saying, yeah, if there's this range where anybody who's at $9, it didn't increase your signups enough to matter, and so cool, we can get rid of that, and we're just going to start at 49. I wonder, anybody who will pay 49 will pay 79, and we start everybody there. That's the hypothesis right now.
Yeah, that's the hypothesis. Yeah. Like, just give it a try. And that's exactly what we're going to do. I basically spent last week experimenting with the Stripe API a little bit to figure out how to do this, and I think we found a good solution. I implemented like the automatic measurements of your user count, because we do like high watermark measurements. So if you add 1,000 users per month, then and even if you remove 500 of them afterwards, you will build for 1,000, because that's the highest watermark you had in there. So I built that last week. Basically added support to allow like the new pricing model and the old pricing model to work together or in parallel. And the next thing we're going to do is redo the pricing page and just like have new trials sign up on those new flexible plans, just to figure out, is 79 working, or is nobody signing up at 79, or what happens, and see what happens. And then after that, if that's kind of working, we'll probably start migrating people over one by one, just on those plans where, like, especially the larger plans where it makes sense, instead of making an upgrade to the extremely large plan, just ease them into those new plans. And for everyone else, I feel like, especially the people on the $49 plan, for those it would be a price increase, and we're probably waiting with that until the company's tracking feature is out there, so they get a better product, and then hopefully are also willing to pay a little bit more for that. Yeah, so that's the plan right now.
Fun. Experimenting with pricing.
Yeah. Oh man, that's. I feel like I want to experiment more with pricing, but it's always a question of, what do you do with the existing customers?
Yeah.
Like you can't experiment and then always adjust pricing for all existing customers, because like depending on what you do, you might wipe away a lot of MRR that you already got. But then again, also feels unfair to sell the product way cheaper than what people currently using the product are paying. And yeah, I don't know. Also raising prices and then lowering them again a couple of weeks after is also kind of a shitty move. So there's a little bit of tension there.
Yeah, there's totally. There's tons of tension around changing pricing, experimenting with pricing compared to just tinkering with features. And I mean, everybody says, and completely agree. However much you're experimenting with your pricing, it's probably not enough. And and that's so true. And I get the advice on that. Especially, but I mean, because you got to think like, whatever your MRR is right now, and kind of being married to the people who are paying that, your existing customers, it's a drop in the bucket, compared to where you want the company to be.
Yeah.
And so it's hard to look at it as, well, we gotta put a little bit of that on the line so that we can go from, this 1% where we're at right now up to the full potential. But I get that, get that in theory, that the little, the little thing that you're holding right now and it's just a tiny little sliver of what the future potential is supposed to be. So yeah, you got to mess around with it. Yeah. But at the same time, like, these people's names, they're your customers, and like, hey, we're gonna lower your price. Actually, no, we're gonna lift it back up. We're gonna lower it again because that didn't really work out. It's that.
Yeah.
And you don't want 22 different types of pricing models in your database. Like, that's annoying.
Yeah, that's annoying
you
as
can't
well.
maintain that.
Yeah.
So
I guess, the strategy is to experiment a little first. And once we just with new accounts, and once we figure out a model that works, then maybe moving everyone over in one big batch or something like that. I don't know. Who knows?
Okay. So that is the current advice and strategy is leave people in their plans, but anybody new, experiment like crazy. Experiment all the time with new signups, and then when you find one that works, move everybody over to it.
I'm not sure if that's the going advice. That's what we settled on, because it felt like the smartest idea in a way.
Yeah.
Because
what were the tiny seed? What are the other people in your cohort or the mentors?
We have not talked to them yet.
Okay. I would, yeah. I mean,
we have a mastermind call coming up right after this call, and we'll probably talk about it. But there's one other company who did something similar in the batch. They had a similar problem, and they said it worked well for them to do this. And I think what they didn't even change the existing customers. They just rolled out a new pricing plan for new customers and left everything else untouched.
Yeah.
And I think it sounds like it's the best idea, because this way you can experiment more. And if existing customers complain because they see you got a way cheaper plan, you can still move them over.
Right.
But when we rolled out a $9 plan, we basically looked at the database and downgraded everyone who was below the 100 users limit
threshold. Yeah.
And I mean, that's basically shooting yourself in the foot MRR wise. Because now they're on the $9 plan. And even though we kind of retired that, of course, we didn't upgrade them again. So I'm very hesitant to just roll out a change to everyone just yet. All right. Whatever.
Well, keep tinkering. Yay, pricing.
So what's up with you?
Let's see. Yeah. So after last week, I think the thing that stuck with me most from that conversation was towards the very end, when you were like, you should just put less pressure on yourself for these things to, turn into something. and just have a little bit more fun with it, and or something, something to that effect that just really stuck with me. Most especially because it rang so true because I realized, yeah, I have not had fun with my like work and my job in a while. Um, and definitely, I don't know the best way to put it other than there's definitely stretches of time where it doesn't feel like a beating. I'm not saying that, but just, wow, this is really fun. I would not do anything else other than this right now if I could. It's just been a really long time. And so, yeah, I've just been thinking over that a whole lot and trying to figure out a way to rediscover that the fun factor. I definitely think a huge piece of it is just taking the pressure off, and finding a way to be a little more patient, content, etc. Um, but the difficult thing about that is that it's just balanced against um the other thing I mentioned of just not feeling the drive and fire uh, that I've often felt. So, which I want back. I want that. I can't wait to get back to this, and that feeling of excitement and energy, which is not always you know it doesn't is not always paired with patience. So there's like a part of me that actually wants some urgency and just some ferocity. Anyway, yeah, I've just been thinking over that a whole lot. No big conclusions or eureka moments or anything, but that's just what's been rattling around in my head. Um, okay, so on the headlamp side of things, it does look like I'm pretty close to signing a contract to do some digital strategy work with my old a friend of mine that I've mentioned who works at one of the upmarket companies. That would be really exciting on multiple levels. So I'm like hopeful that this upcoming week we're kind of able to finalize some things. There's like some pricing negotiation stuff that he seems super hesitant on, and I'm equally hesitant to negotiate against myself. I'm just not going to, until the word is no. And okay, well now let's negotiate. But so I was still kind of waiting on that to fully close. So fingers crossed, man.
Yeah, definitely.
That would be a huge win on the personal, revenue side of things and on the headlamp, market research and development. So that's where that's at. On brand patrol, I'm feeling pretty certain that the idea as it exists, like $500 monthly, concierge high touch service for the tech market, is invalidated.
Okay.
I reached out to plenty of people who were just like, yeah, I don't really have that problem. We kind of have to worry about trademark from time to time. It's annoying, but I don't know. We're not gonna not for 500 a month. Even Adam, who like where the idea originated, was like, actually, we're thinking that we may sort of handle this with with a VA as they come up. It's like, okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense then. What and so in terms of like that initial pitch, $500 a month for a high touch service, I think it's pretty. I don't think that there's a market.
Yeah.
I don't think there's demand for it. What has come up is that there's potentially a niche for direct to consumer Shopify brands who are. I've had a couple of people like so one person like mentioned this brand and included me in the tweet, and the person was like, yeah, this is a daily thing for us. So reached out to them, emailing back and forth, and that triggered the idea of it's because this person does like it's like a beard oil company on Shopify, doing like $1 million plus a year. And so, so then I started emailing a bunch of other, Shopify brands or companies that do well on Shopify, and a number of them have said, "Yeah, this is really annoying."
Hmm.
And we deal with this. We deal with this all the time, and we've kind of just given up on it because we have to send a whole bunch of these, and they're just really annoying things. And we kind of have to do it because once you stop defending your trademark, then you no longer have a trademark. And so if you don't do it, then you could potentially be in trouble. At the same time, we're not completely sure that just ignoring it isn't better. And so um, then the other niche of some people who've shown some interest is course creators. And so, but what both of those groups are saying is, I mean, $500 for you to go around and handling it. Yeah, I'm not totally sure. What would be great is if there were just some tool that just monitored it for us and told us when they came up, and there was some automated way of just sending the annoying follow-ups, because that's the hard part,
Mm-hmm.
is follow up, follow up, follow up, follow up, follow up. um so that's where that's at. Not to the point yet where I want to start proof of concepting some sort of crawler or anything, but that's where that stands. So
Yeah.
uh,
Interesting. What type of trademark violations are those brands seeing? First reaction was like, huh,
mhm.
how does that even work?
Yeah.
Like, are people reselling their stuff elsewhere, or what's the
Not
problem there?
not reselling the exact stuff, but selling a knockoff and using pretty much the brand image. So um, for this, it's basically like men's, toiletries, like
Mm-hmm.
boutique toiletries. Um, yeah, people will sell a knockoff product that is clearly intended to look as if they're
Mm-hmm.
buying this product, but it's not the same thing. With the clothing companies, it's like people will just straight up pull down all of their images with their graphics, their graphic tees, and put up a clone Shopify store with
Mm.
their all of their IP, all their designs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and so just being able to monitor for those that appear, and Shopify, what several people have said is Shopify makes it real easy to make a claim. What is annoying is that Shopify is not really good at responding to them timely, and so you have to follow up constantly. And
Mm-hmm.
um, so the thing so what's interesting there is very easy to identify target market. There are lists all over the place of Shopify based companies doing more than $1 million a year,
Yeah.
or similar. What is what's the right word? What is not validating so far is that if you search the Shopify App Store for brand monitoring or trademark defense or anything like that, there's like nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, either, ooh, nice, this is the next little bolt-on service for these type of companies, or this is not a big enough problem to solve.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's where that stands.
But I mean, at that price point, it doesn't really have to be an add-on in the add-on store, right? I mean, if you find like
I don't think I don't think
5
the
to
price point.
20 companies who are interested in just like using a service for this, that's all you need.
Well, I don't think that the price point will hold,
Okay.
because if it like as people are describing the problem back to me, the solution that I start to see is an automated service that just functions as a dashboard, shows the user, shows the company, not brand patrol. Like we're not concierging it anymore. shows the user, here are all of the violations, and here's the status, and we just give you like, mission control to handle all of those things. So it feels like that is more like a 99, 129 a month kind of a thing.
Okay. Yeah, fair enough.
Because positioned as, it's not this productivity tool that you're kind of expected to pay $39 a month or whatever the market is at. Like, this is your brand equity. And so what you're paying for here is not a project management tool. You're paying for, preserving your brand. And so that's just, higher cost for what it does, or what it's the outcome that it gets you, not the complexity of the software.
Interesting.
So, and anything down of that, I just don't know that there's a big enough market for it.
Do you think there's a way to just like do this manually to start and just see if you can get like someone to pay for it?
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe even we talked about Upwork and finding people to do some relatively stupid research on there. Maybe you just tell someone on Upwork, hey, here's this online shop or online store. Please try to find knockoffs of this store by just Googling a lot or whatever.
Right. So this upcoming week is where I feel that'll be my goal for the conversations that I've started, is another round of follow-ups with everybody, either who hasn't responded to say, hey, it's me again, or people who have, and to say, well, here's what I'm thinking. We're going to adjust this a little bit, and this is what the offering will be. Would you be ready to sign up? Just give it put another little shoulder behind it for the next week or two, and see what comes from it.
Yeah.
I mean, what has definitely made me realize is, I haven't done enough of this sort of like throw up a landing page in a couple of hours, and that's it, and just start pitching it around. And there's a part of me that wants to just be like, should do 10 of those between now and the end of the year. And it just feels like way easier. What's the right word? Like, just kind of it keeps me less attached to any idea, to get something up, see if there's any traction with it. Okay, yeah, this part of it is totally invalidated. Oh, there might be something over here. Let's explore that a little bit, and just having something a little bit tangible. In terms of the landing page, has been.
Yeah, I like the idea. Just experimenting more.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's really the way to go. I think one of my problems is that I get too attached to my ideas way too early and jump into code way too early, and also come up with ideas that are only solvable by code, or sort of.
Yeah. Well, so the final thing I will say that related to that is, because the other thing you said was last, like, have a little more fun with it. It's like, okay, well, so what would I do? What would be fun? And so I thought, okay, well, what if, who would I want to work with? And the markets I would love to work with would be anything to do with fly fishing. I love fly fishing. Anything to do with board games. And so I reached out to, I think, like somewhere between 60 and 80 different board game publishers, like indie board game publishers. Said, hey, I'm a developer, board game enthusiast, founder, looking for my next thing. I'm curious if you, if I were to build a web app that helped board game publishers, run their business easier, to help you, manage part replacement requests, community building, review management, supply chain, management specific for board games, et cetera, et cetera. What would that do? So that's why I'm reaching out to you, because you've got experience in running a publishing company. So sent out about 80 of those. Got a handful of, yep, we have to deal with all of that. We use Trello, Jira, Freshdesk, and something else, I don't know, like Google Docs, combined with Google Forms. And it works well enough. Yeah. So thanks for reaching out. But that's how we solve it right now. Plenty of people have said that. So on the one hand, there's this thing of, oh, sweet. So all of business is bundling or unbundling. So is there a bundle here, or their current solution is good enough, so they're not going to want to switch. One person who's the CEO of a pretty well-known, pretty successful publishing company responded and was like, yeah, I started thinking about this about 3 years ago. We started building it 9 months ago, and it'll be finished in 12 to 18 months. And so on the one hand, I was like, okay, cool. The CEO of a publishing company is interested in this. On the other, oh, holy moly, man. Like 18 months to deliver, and you've been working on it 9. I don't think my reply is, I think you might be going about this wrong. I don't think I say that quite yet. But anyway, that's a conversation that's happening there. What it has tangibly come up with so far is that one of the companies was like, we're not ready for that yet, but you build web apps, we need to build an online tool that will help our customers create and print their own custom cards for the game. Is that something you'd be interested in working with us to build? I was like, yeah, definitely. So let's tinker around with that. So tiny little project has already come out of it.
Nice.
And one other company said a similar thing. Like, we're not ready to build out a full application yet, but we could use some help with some of our ERP integration. Is that something you'd want to work with us on? So a couple little irons in the fire over there, but all that has me doing is wanting to come up with 2 or 3 other markets to send basically that email to as well. Let's see what's happening.
Really, really smart. Yeah, kudos. Good job of just like doing some cold outreach to people you'd like to work with nothing in particular to sell them. I think that's a good place to start.
Yeah. So yeah, it definitely seems like, okay, I can get this, process running to be able to do, 50 to 75 cold outreaches per market per week.
Yeah.
That'd be a great goal. That would feel
and if anything, maybe some interesting consulting projects come out of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Just like, something else than what you've been working on already. Yeah. So
yep.
That's one thing that I learned in the past, is that like sometimes it's easier to impress people outside of the software industry with little software solutions. Like,
yes,
everyone in the software industry is like, I've seen that before. We just need another one of those, whatever. But it's not as cool as this other tool or whatever. But people not so familiar with what's possible are easily blown away by
easier to impress. That's
by
for sure.
by a good tiny small niche software solution.
Yeah.
So maybe that's something. And I mean, I don't know about you, but one of the things that bring me the most joy in terms of like working on software is like solving problems for people who really appreciate that you solve that problem for them.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing like building small internal tools that make other people's lives easier.
Yeah. Yes. Totally agree with that, man. Well, that's it for me, man. Another long episode.
Yeah,
back to back lengthies.
Yeah. Gone are the times of 20-minute episodes for some reason.
at least for a little bit. Yeah. Hey, okay, so I'm here next week. Following week, I will not. I'll not be on the show. So if you want to find someone to chat, or we can just take that week off. But that's where I'm at, dude.
Thanks for reminding me. I'll think about it.
Yep. Maybe be good to have a vacation week or take a week off or something. So,
yeah, maybe that as well.
Maybe. Cool.
We'll see.
All right. Well,
cool.
Good catching up.
Yeah.
Good talking.
Have a good one. See you next week.
You too. Later.
Bye.